Blessings. Now let's see if this is going to come up here. It's saying that there's some kind of an error. We are going to see if we can override that and refresh the page.
Going to come up
yes.
Here.
Whoop, whoop. Okay. Blessings, everyone. Good afternoon. I don't even know what today's, yes, I do. What today's date is. It's April 11th, I think. What does the phone say? We have to look here to see, like, what is the time and what is the day? I don't even know. This is so ridiculous. Okay, it is April 11th. So thank you, everyone who hopped on earlier and who joined me for today's 4D Trinity live stream. We talked about, and we did work with the ancestors, with the ancestor energy. So if that's something that's of service to you and interesting to you, check it out. I have not yet gone in to put it on the 4DT playlist, but it should be right up there with the videos. And so thank you, everyone who joined in. And today I'm doing our weekly live stream of, I'm doing our weekly tarot via the live stream because all sorts of amazing things are happening in life that are inviting me to be more succinct and to get more done in less time, because there's more things that are requiring my time and my attention. And so as I was announcing earlier on the 4DT live stream, which, just so you know, is not only now on YouTube every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, but it is also live on Instagram. So you can do either or, just so you know that. And what am I saying? What am I saying? I'm a little bit all over the place. No, I'm not. I'm centered. I'm here and I'm now. What I'm saying is that there's a lot more that is happening. And so the guidance is to be more succinct with the 4D Trinities. So my aim, which I think we did really good today, which is just to do an hour from 11 to 12, 4DT, unless for some reason the divine is just like, we're going deep, we're going hard, then we'll go in for longer, obviously. Next week, as you know, every month I do a Q&A, Ask Me Anything on the 4D Trinity live stream. And while you do ask me anything, as you know, and if you don't know, if you're a new subscriber, thank you for subscribing. We go in deep and we keep it real and always rooted in love, always rooted in the divine guidance that truly serves your spiritual growth and sovereignty. So with that said, I am also intending to make these weekly, and you know they're not really weekly. They can run from anything to from 10 or more days, 10 to 15 days are weekly tarot forecasts. So just with the intention of cultivating new patterns of holding space and being more succinct and creating more with less. That's the intention. So the aim here then with our tarot is to hit a 30-minute mark, right around there. Okay, my loves? So as always, thank you everyone for all of your support, all of the new subscribers. We're up to 960 on YouTube and we're not even doing anything. I'm not even trying to get more followers here, and it's just naturally and organically happening. And so thank you everyone. I'm so grateful. I'm so very grateful. All of my links are down in the show more box, especially if you're new and you don't hear my spiel. I've got books, I've got free books. Join my website. If you subscribe at my website, the link is right down below and it's just my full name, TuesdayMayThomas.com. First page, you can subscribe with your name and your email, and you receive my monthly love letter. And right now, really, there's only one email a month. So that's all you'll get. And it's got a little blog from me and all sorts of interesting little free things for my subscribers. Like this month, you will receive access to a really powerful article that I published in the Sedona Journal of Emergence titled Conscious Alchemy. And also, you will have access to download for free a recording, an MP3 of very powerful, it's a 5-minute power affirmations. And it's actually here on my YouTube. If you go to, I forget which playlist it's on, but so if you were like, I wonder what that's like, you can check it out. And if that's something that's interesting to you, and if what I share is interesting to you, I'd love to see you every month. So again, thank you so much, everyone. We're going to get right into it. And I'm going to allow universe to guide the length of this. So what I'm getting right now is that this will be a forecast for April 11th, which is today, through April 26th is what the guides are telling me. As you know, we use the Osho Zen Tarot. And these are also the tarot that I'm guided to use when we do our 4D Trinity Q&A, Ask Me Anything, which will again be on next week's live stream, next Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We always warm up with our tarot and get an overview card with the Voyager deck. So we're going to do that. Let's go ahead and drop in and take a breath. And we're going to start to shuffle, calling in our angels and our guides and all those ascended masters, all those divine light beings who love us. We quest now and journey and just simply allow what serves our highest good, what messages, what divine visuals, visions, pictures, words, aspects truly serve our highest good now. Now, this is interesting. We got two. I have not looked. I don't know. I'm going to look. We're going to take both of them. We'll take both of them. Oh my God. Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. The lovers. Are you feeling this? Honey, are you feeling this? Okay. The lovers. But according to this deck, it's not always about romantic love and commencement. We're going to take both. We are going to take both because remember last week we were Neo, right? In the last forecast that we did, we were embodying that Neo aspect when he jumped from one building. Remember in his training, he got to jump from one building ledge to the next, and he's in midair. And that's where we were in our last reading, and we were about to land. Have you landed on that next ledge yet? I know I have. And it's been not so smooth. But with a little help from our friends and a lot of love and support from those who love us unconditionally, you know, we get what we need, and we learn. We learn how to activate at these higher cycles per second, at these higher frequencies. And Will is here. He's saying, no problem on YouTube. Okay, well, blessings. Thank you for being here, Will. And in all the ways that you're here. Thank you. So let's get right into it. The lovers. Dun, 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 dun. Everyone's always so excited, like, about love, right? And then they get love, and they're like, well, I'm not even going to say it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to hold the card up, do my best to keep it still, and I'm going to read. The lovers, symbolized by the conjoined male and female, is the law of union, oneness through the marriage of opposites. It represents your communion with another and or the integration of your own inner polarities. The Gemini twins, the duality of man and woman, sun and moon, jungle and desert, black and white, and the torn rose symbolize sameness and difference. Life is ambiguous for you. Keep your center amidst the pool of opposite forces. Know that union creates disunion and disintegration creates integration. Synthesis and divine are twins. You are continually faced with choices to choose this or that, to be involved or not involved. You may be indecisive, confused at times, a little schizophrenic, but out of chaos comes clarity. Be comfortable with change. The lovers is embracing. Oh my God. Am I even holding this? Look at this. This is so funny. It's over here and I'm reading. Let me do better. The lovers is embracing the opposites. Be intimately involved with others, but also maintain your own self-integrity. Be feminine, but also masculine. Recognize your individuality, but also see yourself in others. So, while this can reflect the union of two, you know, the sexual, the romantic lovers aspect for us, it is also pointing directly to that union that happens within us, the union of male and female energies, the healing of both of those aspects, the twin that lives within us, right? The two apparent separate sides, finding their unity, finding their oneness, the integration through us. And this leads us to our next card, commencement. Okay, let's look this up. It is the Four of Worlds. Ooh, I don't think we've ever done two cards as our overview before. I'm very excited about all this. Very excited. Okay, commencement. Here we go. Spring, represented by the green flower shoot, symbolizes new beginnings and commencements. Like the birth of the crocodile and the new island, it is time to break out of mental contemplation and act. The Aries ram springing forward means you should move on your winter reflections. Go for it. Take the leap into new ventures and exercise the physical body. The Mars planets and flower shoot representing male genitals, symbolizing the sowing of new seeds which will expand through the expression of your creative and sexual energies. Well, isn't this interesting? It's on the phone over there. I was just outside watering, and at a gathering I was at recently, a beautiful goddess gathering, the facilitator gave out a lovely little packet of cosmos, of seeds, and I never see cosmos anywhere. It is my absolute favorite flower. And I never see them anywhere. And when I do, it's like, whoa, it's like a thing, right? And at the end of the thing, she hands out this basket with these little sweet little bags of these cosmos seeds. And I was like, here we go. And it's spring, and there's been so much healing, right, for all of us. And I dug up a little plot outside and I planted those seeds, and I've been watering. And not too many people know this about me, but now you know, is that I'm not really a gardener person. I'm a Taurus, right? Born Taurus. Yet I'm not, and I love Mama Earth and nature, of course, yet I'm not one to be puttering around in the yard. And so plants, you know, have like a 50-50 chance with me. And I'm one of those kind of people. I'm just, my mind, my ego is like, I'm just too busy. You know, I'm one of those kind of people. And I've recognized that. But these cosmos came. And it's such a big, huge healing part of my life. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do more in terms of taking care of these seeds, in terms of really recognizing that these seeds are an extension of me, an extension of my healing, an extension of my growth, and this new passage that I'm going through. And so it speaks to it. So anyway, I was just outside watering, and I saw the shoot, the first shoots coming up from those cosmos. And it's been like 2 weeks maybe. And so I just took a picture like just 5 minutes ago. So this is just so divinely ordained and aligned, not only for me, because I get so much. I know other readers say these reads are not for me, or this reading is not for me, but everything that I share here is for all of us, myself included. So I feel excited by that, and I pray that you're excited too. So commencement and the lovers. So already thinking about the beginning, and that it's time to act. And remember, a few tarots ago, we got take a risk. Take a risk. Like, where can you take a risk in life? And that the riskier aspect was to stay in the seed, to not have the courage to bloom, to grow, to sprout, to see what's outside of the safety of the seed. So this is all just, we are so synced in, my friends. We're so in alignment. Okay. So again, thank you, our angels, our guides. We welcome in your divine wisdom through this Osho Zero, through this Osho Zen Tarot deck. We receive you. We call in our angels, our guides, and all those light beings who love us unconditionally. We thank you. We thank you for channeling messages through me, for me, and for the collective at this part of our journey for April 11th through the 26th of 2019. Okay, so I'm getting to do some Vegas shuffling, which really isn't Vegas-y at all, but to me, that's about as Vegas as I get around here. I'm going to shuffle a few more. We're going to see what happens. Thank you so much, our angels. Thank you, our animal medicine totems. So very grateful. So these couple fell out. I'm going to guide it to leave those on the side. I'm also guided to shuffle these 2 more times. We thank you. We thank you. All of our guides. Oh, thank you for holding space for us impeccably. Just holding the light. I'm guided to pull this one, for holding the light for us so divinely, so beautifully and impeccably. Thank you so much. We are that. We are that. Okay. I'm getting to divide these into 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to pull 3. Okay, 3 from this one. I'm getting to pull the top, the next one, and then the one from the very bottom. And then from our second deck, I'm getting to pull 2 from the middle. So here's 1. There's 2. And then from our third deck, I'm getting to pull just one. They're saying to shuffle. And then if we need more, we'll get more from the top. I'm so curious. Okay, so now I'm getting to put them all back together. And if we need more, we will access them. We will know. So let's see what we have here. So those two that fell out, oh, there are actually three that I pulled out from the very beginning. Wait, no, they're not. No, they're not. They're two. Oh, very interesting. The mind. The mind. A lot of thinking, right? And then the outsider, where we feel not as one, where we don't feel the unification of the lovers, where we don't feel that sense of excitement, that sense of urgency in the highest light to get cracking on it, to an urgency in the highest light, meaning the excitement, the libido, the energy, the essence, the wind that is carrying you to make that next move, right? To move into that next phase. So the mind and the outsider being our top cards, the cards that wanted to come out from the very, very beginning. This speaks to this aspect that I can totally relate to, and I'm going to just convey a little bit to you with regard to this. Thank you for hopping on YouTube. Thanks for saying hi. I'm going to just share on this a little bit, that when we go through our healing, as that Neo, as that version of Neo from the movie Matrix, and we unlearn old patterns and paradigms, and we then are allowed to allow that truth that is always within us to have more space, to become clearer and clearer, more distinguishable, and also perhaps as we repattern new synthesis, new activations within our consciousness, there is a dislodgement. And depending on our path, and really how much preparation we've been doing along our path in terms of detoxing, in terms of forgiving, in terms of doing the work, right? The metaphysical, the energy work to serve ourselves, to practice self-love and impeccability in that way of self-mastery, cleansing the body temple, preparing, so that the healing, as it does come, does not have to be so devastating. Yet sometimes it just is. It just is. Even if you have been cleansing, sometimes it just still kicks your ass, as it has been mine. This has been my experience. So I can only imagine if I, as you know, if you follow me, I was addicted to wine for a long time after a huge life crisis, and I drank like a lot for a couple years, like every day, and I was addicted. And I don't do that anymore since October of 2018. And I can just imagine if these series of enlightenments and these healings that I've been going through, these Kundalini activations had been happening when I was drinking that much. Because remember, what I teach here outside of these tarots, all the teachings that I share is that when it's your time to heal and become enlightened and that process begins, universe doesn't care if you have a heroin needle in your arm. And I say this with sincerity and with integrity and respect towards everyone. I'm not just being sassy here or anything of that accord. But there's this aspect of, if you're drunk or you're drugged up or you're whatever, you're numbed up, through whatever substance or addiction, say, and it's your time to wake up, universe is going to, higher self, God, love is going to come in and tap you on the shoulder or push you over your chair or do whatever it needs to get your attention, right? For that dislodgement, that awakening to happen. So on one hand, we could say, well, if we were still drinking as I was, or using, right, as some might have been, the enlightenment maybe wouldn't happen. The awakening or the healing wouldn't happen because you're too messed up, for it. Yet, and sometimes that is the case. Yet what I've learned is that it's not always the case. And that when it's your time, it's your time, honey. So anyway, that's what I've been experiencing. And thank goodness that I've been sober, because it has been a very, very interesting situation that has, while it has been very enlightening and healing, and I pray that this speaks to your path, because of the dislodgement, the deeper dislodgement of the patterning. Can you imagine, like that theme from last week, right? That theme from our last week's tarot, that you are Neo, in the movie Matrix, he's in the Matrix, right? And he's like doing his work. And then Morpheus jumps from one building ledge to the next. And Neo's like, oh, as he comes closer, he's like, oh shit. He's like, okay, here we go. Right. And he's like, woo, like getting ready. And he jumps. And then the whole team is like back on the spaceship, like they're watching. And they're like, is he going to make it? Is he really the one? Is he really Neo? And then he falls, right? Hundreds of feet down, smack, right? Of course, he doesn't die because it's just a program, right? It's a hologram that they're in. He's doing his training. But and someone's like, well, maybe he's not the one, right? One of the cats on the spaceship is like, maybe he's not the one. And then Trinity, I think, says not everyone makes the first jump, you know, where it's like, we're exercising these muscles. We're creating space for these new synapses to become calibrated in our body-mind continuum, individually and collectively. And the stuff that Neo got to unlearn in order to make that jump, in order to not even have it be like a thing that he needs to be like, oh, I better like clear at least 20, 30 feet. If I do that, I'm going to have to get this much wind under my sails and have this much energy to jump. Right? So this is the idea, to gain that enlightenment, to be able to take flight, whether you're Neo jumping from one building to another, or the flight of just ascending in the royalty of your own alchemation and receiving the divine blessing of the most high healing of your enlightenment for this space and time of your process. There's a certain amount of unlearning that must be accomplished. It must be done. It must be done for that change to happen. And when it is done, there can be a depression there, because it's a dislodgement. You're detaching, you're delinking from this world as you've known it, from who you thought you were as you've known you. Oh boy, that's a big one. That's a really, really big one. I'm just going to see who this is that said hi. Ah, it's amazing you're getting into gardening. That's so funny, Venus in the first. I'm not getting into gardening. I'm not saying that. You can say that about me, but I'm just saying that I planted some little seeds and I'm being very good at watering them and they're sprouting. So I'm not getting into gardening. See how resistant I am. I'm like, don't overwhelm me. That's a little too much. Okay, so back to this. So this dislodgement with the enlightenments that happen, there's this outsiderness, because on one hand you're awakening and your beautiful lotuses are blooming, and you're just like, I mean, what I call it is for me is I've been high on God, just high on love. Like there's a whole new system that's happening. But when that system happens, all of a sudden we can feel like this little child that's just like in the world, not of it, but not in that heaven on earth way, like in like a trippy way, where we feel like the outsider. We're outside of the gates of heaven. And we feel a little disheveled. You see his little overalls, they're like, it's crossed in the opposite way. And there's a lock on the gate. Yet the illusion is that the lock is not clicked. There's a chain around the gate and there's a padlock. But if you look closely in the card, and I'm not sure how well you can see it in the video, it's not clicked shut. And so there's that, we keep ourselves, or spirit keeps us, or we just have, there's a divine timing with all of this, right? So we idle, we process, really is what's happening. We're processing our experiences. And sometimes those enlightenments, they just, boop, you go to sleep, you wake up and it's like, yay. And it's like, it's all good. And you get back into your mojo, you know, or it takes a minute. And some days are better than others. And some days are really crazy, you know? And in fact, I want to write a blog called Enlightenment's a Bitch. On top of everything else I'm doing. And I say that, you know, tongue in cheek, but it's this interesting thing because it's an initiation of its own, right? And not that we're necessarily sitting here going like, I want to be enlightened, you know, not that we're questing for that, or that that's like the holy grail. You're just doing your meditations. You're just doing your work, and you're following the divine guidance of higher self, practicing to the best of your ability, impeccability, embodying the voice for God as you hear it through Holy Spirit as your higher self, and living your best life, living heaven on earth, you know, and allowing grace for yourself and others. And the resistances, the residual tars that really are required to be dislodged in those enlightenments, that's when, like the Lover's card, that's when that unity, that union, that's 4D right here. This is the union. That's that divine integration of the male and the female. That's when both parts of you, if you are cut into the male, the female, the left or the right hemisphere, that's that corpus callosum. Remember last week we talked about that too in the tarot. When the crystalline tube is clear, when all frequencies can bisect and connect and talk to each other, and all of a sudden there's no separation. Because remember, what I teach here is that the binary, the world system, it's beautiful, and we're here, we're doing our dance, but it's the love and fear, love versus fear. And as that fear dislodges and dismantles itself, and you give your life to love, you fall in love with love, you start to live and experience love and only love. That's the 4D consciousness. That's what we teach here. That's what I teach. That's heaven on earth realization. Well, that's that unity. That's that lovers. That's where, and I've been talking about this with Will. It's like, and we both, I won't talk for you, Will. I'll let you have your own show. Or maybe you'll come on the show with me again sometime and we'll talk about this idea, this beautiful, there's this point, you know, and I know I say the word God a lot, and know that it is love. It is the feeling realization of oneness. And what I say here also is that God is a verb. I do not assign genitals. It's not a he or a she or a that or the, it's a feeling realization. And again, when that tipping point shifts, and enough of the tars and those fears and just the ancestral memory stuff, like what we did today on the 4DT, when that in its own divine alignment, space and time has shifted to a certain degree, that tipping point shifts. These cards keep flying off here. I've got 3 Beyonce fans on. So the cards are going everywhere. But that tipping point shifts, and all of a sudden you're like in love. You're in bliss. You're in love. You're in love with love. You are love. And you really get satiated, content. You're empty and full at the same time. There's no longer that tar and that discontinuum between the parts of self. You become the unity. You become the wholeness. And that's what the lovers is. And as I was saying to Will in this last week, I was saying, you know, I'm in love with God. I just realized I'm in love with God. And I've thought of that before, but this is the first time in my life where I really get it. I really get it. What Yogananda says in his book, The Divine Romance, what other masters have said, you fall in love with God. And it's a very powerful, powerful thing that I look forward to writing on and to sharing more on as my experience unfurls. But it's this idea with the Lovers card that I want to share, an expression of that, where, and we've had the Lovers before in the Osho Zen, which has more of a, it's definitely more of a romantic, interactive, there's 2 of you situation happening. And that doesn't mean that this can't happen with this Lovers card, though this Lovers card speaks more to what I'm sharing with you now in terms of that divine love of self, that divine healing to the degree that the clouds are gone and you're in love with love. And then from being in love with love, you're in love with God. The container of love, the feeling of love, you know, the being of love. And that is the supreme love. And it is from that place of love that I realized, oh, if I have love with a physical human being, like a romantic love, may I allow and have this experience of being in love with God first. This is the real true love. Now, you may want to turn this TV off in hearing me say that, but maybe it kind of tingles some little sprinkles of glitter, of stardust in your being. It's very powerful. It's very powerful to me, this realization. And I realized, like, that's my true love. That is true love. Okay, so I don't want to go off and go preach here, but I'm just painting a picture that, to me, what I've realized is that that's the supreme love, and that I allow that to be the first love, and that any romantic relationship or love that comes, now that I have my first love, my true love established, it will be graced in the light of that love. And so I invite you into that, into that love. But remember, it starts within you. And then we have the commencement. Then it's time to act. Now that we're in love with ourselves in the highest way, out of self-respect, self-integrity, aligning and allowing our true authentic heart and voice and self to be here, that's the commencement. Now it's time. Show up, start taking the risks, right? And so just so before we go on, what came up beside, right next to that outsider, was the mind card. So again, even though we're becoming enlightened and we're having these like amazing bliss experiences and kundalinis and pineal gland activations and all of this like heart chakra opening and all of this stuff happening, right? The residual tars, the residual shadows, the residual patterns of resistances are going to keep being purged here and there, right? You've done the greater purge to get to this point. And now there's like those little like bleh, 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 those little things that we might stumble on, or we're like, oh yeah, that's in there. Okay, let me place love there and allow it to transmute. But that's the mind stuff, right? And the mind is not the heart. And so as the outsider, we're remembering as we've jumped as that Neo from one ledge to the next, and now we've landed, and now we're here, and now what? Now we're standing at the gates. We've landed and we're standing at the gates. Are we ready? Are we still processing? Are we still reconfiguring that mind? And remember, a couple weeks ago, we did a 4D Trinity called Frontal Lobe Blackout. I'll come back and I'll put links up here later. There's a lot going on energetically and mystically, if you would see it that way. But I believe if you follow me and if you subscribe and if you appreciate and you resonate with these messages, that you're feeling it too. We're all feeling it in our own ways, and maybe in some ways the same. So there's that standing at the gateway. Are we ready to go through? Are we ready to commence, to take the risk? Are we ready? Do we feel the lovers? Do we feel that union with God, that union with self, with the I am, to the degree where we can bravely like step through as that new, an improved, say, version of ourselves? Look what card comes next, as the master. This we always are this. And all we do when we go through these enlightenments is we come back to remembering. We remember the master within. We remember that the master has a constant connection to source. And remember, you know how and because I'm still here, we just did 4DT today, so I still have the gear around me. You know how God always calls on the God phone here on 4D Trinity, on our red phone? The master always has the God phone. The God phone, and it doesn't even have to be a physical phone, right? It's a constant connect. You are wired, you are hardwired now to the voice for God, or whatever name you give it. And so that divine connection, which we know our practice is always in having a relationship with higher self and developing a communication with higher self. And that's how we exercise that musculature, because the higher self is the voice for God. But if we're not listening and honoring and respecting that divine guidance that is intimately connected to the truth in your heart, to your wellness, to your blessings, to your prosperity, to your healing, to your everything good, heaven on earth realization frequency, if we're not honoring that, well, that's just a part of the work, right? To do that. And only we can do it for ourselves, aloneness. So what I'm getting from this so far is that we're standing at the gateway, and I see we've already gone past a half an hour. So I'm still gonna intend and aim to keep this succinct. So we're still standing at this gateway, right? And I believe we're still in the shadow of the Mercury. I thought we were over it, but I think we're still in it or something. Anyway. I heard one astrologer recently say we're heading for a wall of retrogrades, so send out your resumes now because the doors are going to close. I don't know, right? Yet, outside of time, which is where we operate when we're in 4D consciousness, when we are one with higher self, one with God, we are not operating through the laws of time and space. So I love astrology, and while I honor and I mindfully, I was going to say obey, but I'm just mindful as I move because I believe in it. So it gives it power, right? So I'm mindful of like when I do send out those phone calls or make those things, in regard to some aspects with regard to my sign or whatnot. Yet I'm not a slave to it. I'm not like gonna think like the whole world is gonna explode if I send a resume after Mercury retrograde, because I know I'm in tune with love, with God, with source. And if higher self is like, send that resume now, I'm not gonna be like, oh, higher self, you know what, it's retrograde. No, like if higher self is saying, make that phone call, it doesn't matter what the horoscope says, okay? So I pray you understand that. Venus in the first says purification of our obstacles and delusions will allow us to perceive everything as precious. Enlightenment. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that. So we're still at the gateway, right? Maybe you're not. Maybe you've landed. You've already stood at like a little outsider of the gateway. You feel the unification, corpus callosum. All sides are connected. You are one and whole, and you are ready to commence. If you are, do it. I think that's what this is saying. This is what this is saying is it's like, just even if we are still in retrograde, or if those astrologers are saying the wall of retrogrades is coming, you know, like batten down the hatches, this is keeping the mystical aspect of us activated in allowing us to remember that there's actually more of us in existence outside of time and space than the confines that we are taught through the grid matrix of collective consciousness, through the stories we've been told. This is so, everything weaves together that we talk about here. I love this. Okay, so in finishing, past lives. Past lives. We know and we talk about maturity. We know when we talk about the past lives with regard to universal reincarnation. We've all been here before. Your family, your friends, your people, especially those that come in. Like, as you know, if you follow me, I'm making a movie and I'm starting a new Instagram called Grid Mind Science. That's the name of the film. And if you want to follow my journey as a first-time filmmaker making a metaphysical movie, I haven't started posting yet, but either today or tomorrow, the first post is going to like happen, the first post or two on the Grid Mind Science Instagram. And there's a Twitter and there's a Facebook, but that's going to come later. For now, I'm starting, you know, I'm starting where I can start. But anyway, what I'm saying is that this is divinely inspired to make this movie about the grids, right? And the teachings and the heaven on earth, the 4D consciousness. And as I surrender to it, what's happening is the God phone's calling and people are saying, yeah, I want to help you. I want to help you for free because you're my people, is what they're telling me. When people say that to you and you're on your journey and you don't know how it's going to happen or who and what and where and what, but you just give it to God, you give it to love and you trust, your people will, that gives it the sacred space for your people to show up. So this is your past lives card. This is you moving through that gateway, commencement, taking the risk. And when you take that risk and you're this new version, your new cycles per second, new hologram of self just showing up in the world, that's when your past life peeps. Remember, we talked about this last week in last tarots. Your past life peeps are like, oh, here you are. Because remember, they don't recognize you. Your past life people, specific to where we're going with this reading and what I'm sharing with you, these are the people that recognize you when you're like this lover's card, your whole self. They're not the ones that recognize you when you're not living your authentic truth. These are the ones, these are the past now, and there are those past life peeps who are there for that version of you as well, right? There's past life peeps for all and every version of our hologram. But this new set of past life peeps that are actually running timelines in tandem with yours, they only recognize you, this version of you that is this lover's unity, oneness. It's not even like a 5.0, 7.0 thing because there's no point ohs. This is like, we're out of the scale system here, my friends. This is what I'm saying. This is that big. It's the interdimensional shift from 3D to 4D. These are your people. These are your past life people that are like in 4D. And when you show up in 4D, they're like, hey, what's up? You know? And they don't even have, there doesn't have to be family, friends. Like, these are people that I don't really even know, but that I know, but that are like yoga students, you know, like that kind of a thing. And they're like, I'm supposed to help you. Like, they know. And I'm just like, okay, you know, because it feels right. Of course, if it felt weird or my higher self was like, step away, you know, of course we honor that. But this is what I'm saying is that your peeps are here. That's what this is saying. And the mature you, that you allow yourself to be and embody as you walk through that gateway, knows how to receive. The 3D, the old way, the old stories have to do with lack of affirming how much money you don't have, don't do that. You get what I mean though, right? The mature you, the enlightened you, allows, surrenders, has just given up trying to control people, places, things, outcomes. You give your life to, whether it's the Buddha, whether it's Mother Earth, you call it God, to love and to light, to universe, to the highest good. Remember that that does not take away the desires in your heart, the things that you know that are true for you to embody and to live and to joyfully experience in a healthy, grace-filled, excited, beautiful, blessed way. When you give your life, when you stop trying to control it, and I'm just going to call it, when you give your life to God, you fill in that word. If that word freaks you out, you put in a different word. But when you work for God, as I say, I've started working for God, my friends, okay? And when that happens, this new level of maturity is your new initiation. And that's where we're going with this initiation of going through that gateway now and commencing as that whole unified version of self. Is now you get to just fully activate that mystic gift of trust, and trust that God has your back. Trust that your angels, your guides, that the truth that has led you to this point, that your bills will be paid, you know, that you're not going to get into a car accident, that you're, you know, whatever the fears or the things that were the old 3D, the paradigms of pain or of loss or of lack and mistrust or betrayal or jealousy or whatever all those things are, they don't exist in the 4D, my friends. They don't. When you're lovers, when you're in love with God, when you're your own lover, okay, that shit just does not exist. Now, doesn't mean you can't toggle and be like, oh, snap, I just, uh-oh, I'm back in the 3D. You know, and what we teach is like, we're learning how to integrate being in the world and not of it. So I'm not saying like, unless you're like totally enlightened and you're like, beam up to 4D, you know, that you're not good enough or that I'm judging you. No. We're just learning. We're in the process of healing our lives, of learning how to love ourselves, and this journey of enlightenment, of love, learning how to love, learning love. We're just remembering that we are love. And what happens is we bridge heaven on earth, and we get to learn how to be in the world, 1 foot in the world, and not of it, 1 foot in heaven. And so we have this ability to be in the world and not of it. But sometimes the 3D, the old cycles or the paradigms or those layers of tar come up, and uh-oh, we've got both feet in the 3D. And then we're like, oh, let me remember that all is well in all of creation. Let me remember that I am spirit. Let me remember my wholeness, my unity. And once we're back into that realization, boom, commence, take a risk, use that Aries energy, use this spring forward energy to move forward. So that is the initiation with the maturity, is to, once you've walked through that gateway, now trust. Trust the divine passion, the divine desire. And I mean that is the whole passion, the holy desire and desires in your heart, that they will be provided for. Everything will be provided for. But you get to let go of trying to figure that out. You're done figuring that out now. If you would receive it. It doesn't mean you can't make plans and have ambitions and goals as such, yet what happens is, in that mature version of yourself, the version of yourself that is whole, that draws in those past life characters to support those divine visions, is that those aspects become refined, and you're really only pulling from the heart. You're not mechanically, logically, from an emotional or mental place, attempting to manifest your reality anymore. That goes out the window. Woo! Okay, I'm just gonna let us sit with that. I'm so grateful. I love you so much. I love YouTube. I love Instagram. All of my links are down in the show more box. Buy my books. Subscribe to my website for my monthly love letter. You can donate to this channel. There's a little PayPal link. What else do I got? Yeah, check me out, right? Grid Mind Science. I'll come back. I'll put a little link, and it's already here if you want to look on my YouTube, the first sizzle reel. It's an 80-second sizzle reel for the movie that I'm making. I'm going to keep talking about it, and I invite you and your support, and I thank you, because you already do support me. And so I thank you for being a part of this community. Thank you, all of the new subscribers. May everything I share truly serve your path of spiritual growth and sovereignty. Next week's 4D 4D Trinity here at YouTube at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Next Thursday, whatever date that is, I think it's the 18th, I'm not sure, is our Q&A Ask Me Anything. So if you're on Insta, you can DM me your question. If you are on YouTube, you simply write your comment, your question in the comments. And again, I'm going to do my best to make those shows shorter. So I know in the past we've done 2 hours or more. So I'm going to try to hone it in. So first come, first serve. Okay, my friends, so much love and so much light. Namaste and blessings. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I'm so very grateful. Thank you for hopping on, Will and Venus in the First, and for saying hello and for offering your comments. Much love, everyone. Blessings, blessings, blessings.